Okay, so looks like we're going full-on Barbie detective mode today.
Yeah.
You've got like a mountain of articles here about a possible sequel, and honestly, it seems like everybody's got an opinion,
Everybody.
but we're here to kind of help you sift through all the noise
Exactly.
and, get to the bottom of what's actually going on.
Get to the truth.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, the first Barbie movie,
Oh my gosh.
it was like a cultural phenomenon. It was like a cultural earthquake.
It really was.
I mean, $1.4 billion at the box office.
Wow.
8 Oscar nominations.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It wasn't just a movie. It was like,
Yeah.
it sparked this whole national conversation about
Yeah.
like, everything from
Yeah.
feminism to consumerism to,
Oh,
nostalgia. And
totally.
I think that's why everyone's like,
Yeah.
okay, is there going to be a sequel? And if
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
like, what do we actually know?
Yeah, because some of these articles are like pointing in totally different directions.
Yeah.
We've got sources saying that Gerwig and Baumbach are already coming up with ideas, pitching to Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Then we've got like the studio
Right.
and the filmmakers' reps basically saying, no, not a chance.
Right. And that's where it gets really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because we have this one article that's citing a well-placed source.
Uh-huh.
And we all know how those can be sometimes
Right.
pretty reliable sometimes.
Yeah.
And they're claiming that Gerwig and Baumbach not only have an idea, but they've already pitched it to Warner Brothers
Wow.
and are potentially, in early talks for a deal.
Oh, wow.
But then, boom, the studio and the filmmakers' reps come out with these denials
Right.
saying that the report's inaccurate and that it has no legitimacy.
So
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Right.
Are we being played?
Maybe.
Is this just Hollywood doing what Hollywood does best?
This could just be Hollywood.
Keeping us in suspense?
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Studios are kind of notorious for denying projects
Yeah.
that are in the early stages.
Right.
They want to control the narrative,
Right.
manage expectations,
Huh.
because, if they confirm a sequel too early
Right.
and then things fall apart,
Yeah.
then they have this huge fan backlash.
Yeah, it's like announcing a sequel before anything's really
Yeah.
set in stone.
Right.
It's like building a dream house on a foundation of sand.
Exactly.
Not really a recipe for success.
Not a good look.
Right.
And also, the language they use in the denials
Yeah.
is interesting,
Yeah.
inaccurate, no legitimacy.
Uh-huh.
Those are pretty strong words.
Yeah.
But they also leave some wiggle room.
Right.
Maybe the idea is really early stage,
Yeah.
or maybe the deer isn't as far along as the source led everyone to believe.
So maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle between a full yes
Right.
and a flat no.
Right. Which, let's face it, is how a lot of things in Hollywood work.
That's true. Yeah. But there's another piece to this
Okay.
that really stands out to me.
Yeah.
It's like Greta Gerwig's own words about what she needs for a sequel.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She's been very clear that she's not going to just do a sequel just to do a sequel.
Right. Right.
She needs a story that she deeply loves,
Yes.
something with a strong undertow,
Yes.
a deeper meaning
Yes.
that resonates beyond the surface level.
Yeah. And remember that quote from the Time Women of the Year event?
Oh, yeah.
She said, "My North Star is what do I deeply love? What do I really care about? What's the story underneath this story? If I find the undertow, then we get it. If I don't find an undertow, there's no more."
That's heavy.
Yeah.
But, if we connect that to what the source said about Gerwig and Baumbach having an idea,
Yeah.
it raises a big question.
Right.
Did they already find that undertow?
Right?
Could they have a story that meets Gerwig's high standards?
Maybe.
Right?
But even if they do have the perfect story,
Right.
there's the whole scheduling thing.
Oh, yeah.
Baumbach's in post-production on his new film for Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's a huge project.
It's big.
I mean, the cast alone is insane. Clooney, Sandler, Dern.
Yeah, that's some serious star power.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then Gerwig's got her own massive project.
Oh.
She's doing the rock and roll adaptation of
Yes.
the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yes. For Netflix.
Yeah, for Netflix. And
Yeah.
how could they possibly fit in a Barbie sequel?
Right.
It feels like trying to fit another whole life
Yeah.
into a suitcase that's already bursting at the seams.
Right.
But
But these two are masters of collaboration.
that's true.
I mean, they've made multiple films together and they've talked about how they make it work,
yeah.
even when they're busy with other things.
Yeah. Remember that WGA Q&A where they talked about writing separately
Oh, yeah.
and then swapping drafts and being like, did this make you laugh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was all about finding that shared humor.
Yeah.
Even when they're miles apart or just, busy
Right.
with other stuff.
Right. And that's what makes them such a dynamic duo.
Yes.
If they're passionate about it,
Yeah.
they'll find a way.
They'll make it happen.
Yeah.
They've proven that.
That's true.
Time and time again.
I guess when you're working on something you really believe in,
Yeah.
you make it happen.
You make it work.
And speaking of making things happen,
Okay.
we can't forget about Margot Robbie.
Oh, yes, Margot.
I mean, she was the driving force
Absolutely.
behind getting the first Barbie movie made,
She was.
both as the star and as a producer.
Yes, through Lucky Chap Entertainment, her production company.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And her role was crucial.
Crucial.
Yeah.
She championed Gerwig's vision from the start.
Yeah, and she even said that Gerwig was the only one who could crack the code
Yes.
of the Barbie story.
She was the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it seems pretty safe to say that a sequel wouldn't even be a possibility
Right.
without her involvement. Her commitment to the project
Yeah.
and her faith in Gerwig were essential.
Yeah.
So now the big question is, would she be on board for a sequel?
Right.
We know she's busy,
Oh, she's so busy.
with other projects, but she also seems really passionate
Yeah.
about the Barbie world that they created.
And she's not one to shy away from a challenge.
No, she is not.
Remember, she was the one who pitched the Harley Quinn spinoff
Oh, that's right.
to Warner Brothers way back in 2013,
Yes,
and that turned into a huge success.
it did.
So I feel like if anyone can convince Gerwig and Baumbach
Yeah.
to make time for Barbie 2,
Yeah.
it's Margot Robbie.
It's a Margaret.
But even if she's on board,
Right.
and even if Gerwig and Baumbach have the perfect story,
Right.
there's one giant question mark hanging over all of this.
Okay, what is it?
What would the sequel actually be about?
Right, because so far,
Yeah.
they've kept everything under wraps.
Right, and to be fair, that's typical Gerwig.
It is classic Gerwig.
She's always very secretive,
Oh, yeah.
especially in the early stages.
She is.
Remember what she said during that WGA panel?
Uh-huh.
She doesn't like sharing ideas too early because she feels like it can wreck what the movie is.
Wreck the movie.
Yeah, she wants to protect the creative process.
Yeah, to keep that mystery.
Yes, keep that sense of discovery.
Yeah.
But it also makes it really hard to speculate about what might happen. I mean,
Yeah.
where do you even begin
I-
when the possibilities are basically endless?
Right.
I mean, do we see Barbie back in the real world
No.
navigating, the complexities of life outside of Barbie land?
That's definitely a possibility. Or
Yeah.
what if the sequel focuses on Ken?
Okay.
The first film left him on this path of self-discovery.
Right.
He's trying to figure out what it means to be Kenough
Right.
in a world that's constantly changing.
Yeah.
Maybe the sequel explores his journey,
Okay.
his evolution as a character.
Interesting, like a Ken's journey type of story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or maybe they go in a totally different direction and we just delve deeper into Barbie land.
Yeah.
You know, We meet new characters,
Yeah.
explore new facets of that world.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much potential there.
Yeah.
They could introduce different Barbie and Ken dolls from throughout history.
Right.
Explore different careers and lifestyles, create
Yeah.
all sorts of satirical situations based on real world trends.
Oh, the possibilities are really endless.
They really are.
But before we get too carried away with our own fan theories,
Yeah.
let's take a step back
Okay.
and remind ourselves what we do know.
Okay.
We know that Gerwig and Baumbach are incredibly talented filmmakers
Yes.
with a proven track record
huge track record.
of success.
Yes.
And we know that Margot Robbie is a force to be reckoned with as an
Absolutely.
actress and as a producer.
Absolutely.
She's got a great eye for projects that really resonate with audiences.
Yes. And she's not afraid to take risks.
And she's not afraid to take risks.
Yeah.
So even if the sequel is still just like a whisper in the wind,
Right.
the fact that these three creative powerhouses are involved
Right.
is enough to get us excited.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, that's what makes this whole will they, won't they dance so much fun.
It is fun.
We get to speculate, we get to
We
analyze,
need to dive deep.
we get to dive deep
Yes.
into the possibilities.
And at the end of the day, whether a sequel happens or not,
Right.
the conversation that the first film sparked is still going strong.
That's true.
And I think that's the most important takeaway.
Yeah, well said.
Thank you.
But that doesn't mean we can't keep our fingers crossed for more Barbie adventures.
Absolutely not. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything crossed.
Everything crossed. Okay.
Yes. One thing that really struck me about the first Barbie film
Yeah.
was how it managed to tap into this deep well of nostalgia
Right.
but it still felt so incredibly relevant
Yes.
to like today's world,
Totally.
which is a rare feat to pull off.
Yeah, it's like it hit this sweet spot
Yeah.
between honoring like the iconic Barbie we all grew up with,
Right.
and challenging,
Yeah.
what Barbie represents in the 21st century.
Right.
I mean, for decades, Barbie has been this symbol
Yeah.
of both female empowerment
Totally.
and unattainable perfection.
Yes.
And Gerwig and Baumbach,
Right.
they somehow managed to unpack all of that and
Yeah.
turn it into this story that's funny and thought-provoking,
Right.
all at the same time.
Yeah, it's like they use the familiar iconography of Barbie,
Yeah.
like the dream house, at the pink convertible,
The endless wardrobe.
the endless wardrobe,
Right.
as like a Trojan horse.
Totally.
Sneak in some really sharp commentary
Yes.
about like gender roles,
Yeah.
societal expectations,
Right.
the pressure to conform.
And it's not like Hollywood hasn't tried to do the whole toy-based movie thing before.
No, they've tried,
Right.
but so many of those films just fall flat.
Right. They either try too hard to be edgy and adult.
Right. Or they end up feeling like a commercial for the
Right.
toy company.
Exactly.
But Barbie managed to avoid all those pitfalls
Right.
by taking its source material seriously.
Yes.
Finding the emotional core of the story
Uh-huh.
and building this world that felt fantastical, but also grounded in reality.
Yes.
It's a delicate balance, and they nailed it.
They totally didn't. You can't talk about Barbie's success
Right.
without mentioning the cast.
Oh, the cast was amazing.
I mean, Margot Robbie was Barbie.
she was incredible.
She brought this amazing mix of vulnerability
Yes.
and strength
Yeah.
to the role.
Yes.
And Ryan Gosling as Ken,
Oh my
a
God.
revelation.
So good.
I mean, he could have easily played that character as like a one-dimensional himbo,
Right. Yeah.
but he brought this like unexpected depth
Yes.
and complexity.
Such a layered performance.
It was hilarious.
hilarious.
And surprisingly poignant
Yes.
at the same time.
So good.
And the supporting cast was equally brilliant. America Ferrera, Kate McKinnon, Michael Cera.
So good.
They all brought their A game.
Yes.
It makes me wonder how a sequel might expand
Oh, that's interesting.
on those characters and those relationships.
Right.
Would we see more of Barbie and Ken's evolving dynamic?
Oh, possibly?
Yeah.
Or maybe we delve deeper into the friendships
Yeah.
between all the different Barbies.
Okay.
I mean, those are great questions, and I think that's what makes the prospect of a sequel so intriguing.
Right.
There's so much they could explore,
Right.
so many different directions they could take this story.
Yeah, like we could see Barbie back in the real world,
Okay.
maybe navigating the challenges of like a career,
Right.
dealing with family dynamics, or
Yeah.
even getting involved in activism. Ooh, Barbie taking on the patriarchy.
We love it.
Now that's a story I'd like to see.
Yes.
Or maybe the sequel focuses on Ken
Okay.
and his journey of self-discovery.
Right.
The first film left him at a crossroads,
Yeah.
questioning his identity, his place in the world.
Yeah.
It'd be fascinating to see how he evolves,
Right.
how he defines himself outside of the Ken doll mold.
I love that.
Yeah.
That would be so interesting.
And let's not forget about expanding the world of Barbie Land.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, think about all the different Barbie and Ken dolls they could introduce.
Right?
The different careers, lifestyle,
So a period.
historical periods they could explore.
I know.
It's crazy.
They could introduce like President Barbie,
Right.
Scientist Barbie,
Rockstar Barbie.
rock star Barbie.
The possibilities are endless.
Endless. And imagine the satirical potential.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they could poke fun at everything from political scandals
Yeah.
to fashion trends,
Yeah.
social media culture.
Okay, now I'm getting really excited.
I know, me too.
But let's be real.
Right.
There are some major challenges.
Yeah.
If they decide to make a sequel.
Right.
The first film set a really high bar.
Very high.
Can they capture that same magic again? Can they create a story that feels fresh and satisfying
Yeah.
for fans who already have such high expectations?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And it's a question that every successful film faces
Right.
when it comes to making a sequel.
Yeah.
There's always that risk of repeating yourself or losing that spark of originality
Right.
that made the first film so special.
Yeah.
But I think Gerwig and Baumbach are smart enough to know
Right.
they're not going to just rush into a sequel
Right.
just because it would make money.
Right. They're not going to do a cash grab.
No, they're artists.
Yeah. They've both talked about how much they value
Yeah.
artistic integrity
Yes.
and how they're not afraid to take creative risks.
Exactly. So if they do make a sequel,
Right.
it's going to be because they have a story that they're passionate about,
Yeah.
a story that pushes the boundaries and challenges both them and the audience.
And let's not forget, even if they never make a sequel,
Right.
the legacy of the first Barbie film is already secure.
Mhm.
It's a cultural touchstone.
It really is.
It's a film that will be discussed and debated
For years to come.
for years to come.
Yeah.
It's already sparked so many conversations
Yeah.
about important issues.
Right.
And it's introduced a whole new generation
A whole new
to
generation.
the magic of Barbie.
The magic of Barbie.
Exactly. And speaking of magic,
Okay.
we have to talk about the music.
Oh, yes. The music.
The soundtrack for the first film was phenomenal.
Oh, good.
It perfectly captured the tone
Mhm.
and the energy of the story.
Yes.
I mean, from Dua Lipa's Dance the Night
oh, my God.
to Billie Eilish's Haunting What Was I Made For.
Yes.
The music was such an integral
That's
part
a huge part.
of the film's success.
Yes.
I mean, Dance the Night was basically like the anthem of the summer.
it was.
And What Was I Made For
Yeah.
won the Oscar
It did for Best Original Song.
for Best Original Song, and it totally deserved it.
It did those lyrics.
So powerful,
So good.
so emotionally resonant. It's crazy.
Yeah, so naturally the expectations for the sequel soundtrack are going to be sky high.
No pressure. Right.
But seriously.
But if they can assemble a team
Yeah.
of equally talented musicians and composers,
Right.
I have no doubt that the music will be just as incredible.
I mean, they have such a knack
Yeah.
for choosing the perfect songs, to enhance the emotional impact.
Absolutely. I mean, remember the soundtracks for Lady Bird and Frances Ha?
Yeah.
They were both so beautifully curated.
Yes.
So perfectly in sync with the tone and themes of the film.
They really understood how to use music to tell a story.
They did. They get it.
So where does all this leave us?
Okay.
We've unpacked the evidence. We've analyzed the creative team.
Mm-hmm.
We've explored the possibilities.
Yes.
But the truth is we're still in the dark
We're in the dark.
when it comes to a concrete answer about a sequel.
It's true.
But that's part of the fun, isn't it?
It is.
The anticipation, the speculation,
Yeah.
the chance to imagine what could be. It's like we're all part of this giant brainstorming session,
Totally.
trying to figure out, what adventures await Barbie and Ken next.
And even if a sequel never happens,
Right.
the conversation that the first film started
Yeah.
is still incredibly valuable.
It is.
It's made us think differently about Barbie,
Oh.
about gender,
Yeah.
about the stories we tell ourselves and
Yeah.
the stories we tell the world.
And that's something worth celebrating,
Totally.
regardless of what the future holds for Barbie on the big screen.
You're right. But speaking of the future,
Okay.
let's imagine for a moment that a sequel does happen. So let's say Barbie 2 actually happens.
Okay.
What kind of impact could it have on Hollywood?
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, the first film was obviously a huge box office success,
Yeah.
but it also started all these cultural conversations.
Right.
Could a sequel do even more?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. The first Barbie film kind of blew up the whole,
Yeah.
traditional formula for toy-based movies.
Right.
It proved that you can have a film that's commercially successful,
Right.
but also intellectually stimulating.
Yeah.
That appeals to kids and adults,
Yeah.
and that tackles important social issues
Uh-huh.
without sacrificing entertainment.
So basically it raised the bar
It did.
for everybody.
It raised the bar for everyone.
No more lazy cash grabs
Correct.
disguised as children's entertainment.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think a sequel could push those boundaries even further.
Okay. How so?
Well, it could encourage studios to take more risks.
Okay.
Greenlight more projects with female directors and writers,
Yeah.
tell more diverse stories that reflect the complexity of the world we live in.
Yeah. And maybe even inspire a whole new wave of films
Ooh, like what?
that subvert expectation
Okay.
and challenge traditional genres.
Okay. I like where you're going with this.
Like imagine a gritty, action-packed My Little Pony movie
Good.
directed by Greta Gerwig,
All right, I'm listening.
or like a dark psychological thriller based on Care Bears.
Okay, maybe that one's a bit much.
Okay, maybe that's a little too far.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Barbie proved that you can take a seemingly
Yeah.
innocuous property
Right.
and turn it into something groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And that's a really exciting prospect
It is.
for filmmaking in general.
Okay, so exciting prospects.
Yeah.
What about awards?
Ooh, awards.
I mean, the first film got 8 Oscar nominations,
It did.
including Best Picture.
Crazy.
Could a sequel repeat that success?
Maybe.
Or even surpass it?
It's possible. I think a lot will depend on the story.
Yeah.
If they can create a sequel
Mm-hmm.
that's as thematically ambitious,
Right.
and emotionally resonant as the first one,
Yeah.
there's no reason why it couldn't get the same kind of acclaim.
Right, because the Academy loves a good sequel.
They do.
Especially if it, like, expands on the themes
Yeah.
and the characters of the original.
Right. Expands on it in a meaningful way.
In a meaningful way.
Yeah.
Like Godfather Part 2, Toy Story 2, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
The Two Towers.
Exactly.
All great sequels.
They all built on the foundation of the first film.
Yeah.
But they also carved out their own
their own path.
unique path.
Yeah.
And if Gerwig and Baumbach can pull that off
Right.
with Barbie 2, they could be looking at another awards season sweep.
Potentially.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
But awards buzz aside,
Okay.
I think the most important question,
Yeah.
what kind of impact could a sequel have on audiences?
Oh, that's a good question.
Could it continue those conversations that the first film started?
I think so.
You know, could it inspire even more people
Yeah.
to question societal norms and embrace their individuality?
I believe it can.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the real power of a sequel lies.
Okay.
It's a chance to, like, deepen the message of the first film,
Uh-huh.
explore new facets of the characters,
Right.
and connect with the audience on an even deeper level.
And maybe even spark some real-world change.
Ooh, like what?
What if Barbie 2 inspires a whole generation?
To challenge gender stereotypes,
Yeah.
to pursue their passions,
Uh-huh.
to believe that they can truly be anything they want to be.
Oh my gosh. That would be amazing.
Right.
And wouldn't it be a fitting tribute
Yeah.
to the legacy of Barbie herself?
Right.
I mean, she's been an icon
Yes.
of female empowerment for decades.
Yeah, inspiring girls to dream big.
Yes.
And break down barriers.
Absolutely.
So while we still don't have any concrete answers
Right.
about a sequel,
We're still waiting.
the potential is there.
It's
For something truly special.
It really is.
Something that could entertain,
Yeah.
enlighten,
Uh-huh.
and inspire
All in one.
all at the same time.
Yeah. And that's what makes this whole conversation so exciting.
Right.
We're not just talking about a movie.
Right.
We're talking about the power of storytelling,
Yes.
the impact of art,
Uh-huh.
the possibility of creating something that really resonates with the world.
Well said.
Thank you.
So to all our listeners out there who are eagerly awaiting news of a Barbie sequel,
Waiting with bated breath.
remember this? Keep dreaming big.
Yes.
Keep questioning the status quo.
Question everything.
And never underestimate the power of a good story
Never.
to change the world.
The good story can change the world.
And in the meantime,
Yeah.
why not revisit the first film?
Yeah.
There's always something new to discover.
Always.
Some hidden layer of meaning to unpack.
Yeah.
Some spark of inspiration.
Yes.
To ignite your imagination.
To ignite your imagination because, as Barbie herself says, you can be anything.
That is a perfect way to wrap up this deep dive.
Oh.
Thanks for joining us, and keep those Barbie dreams alive.